naked, saying, "Do I win the color TV?" I said, "No, man, you're supposed to streak us by phone." And he has this look on his face like, "I'm the dumbest shit that's ever lived." And I said, "Come on in here." I brought him into the prize closet, and fortunately we had another color TV in there, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to give it to you, just don't do it again, okay? And don't bend over, I'll pick it up for you and carry it out." True story. And the next hour, of course, we went back to instant rip-offs instead of instant streaks. So, anyway, one of many stories. I was really fortunate as program director to have been able to hire really one of the best air staffs that I have ever worked with at any station. And as I mentioned this afternoon when we were all together for the Q&A session, it was a staff of programmers who were thinking programmers. And I could speak programming shorthand to them. I didn't have to explain to them, how the watch was made, so they gave the time. They knew what to do, and I didn't have to follow up very much. And one of the things I'm proudest of is the fact that most of them went on to be program directors at other radio stations, and all of them went on to be much more bigger and more successful stations in larger markets. We had Dave Anthony, who was one of our midday guys, went on to program in Minneapolis and Tucson and Vegas and Houston. One of our afternoon guys was Jay Stone, who ended up being the program director when I left to go to KLIF in Dallas. And he then also went over to KUPD and also programmed Magic in San Diego. Nights we had John Sebastian. John is one of the most successful programmers in America over the last 40 years or so. He's been a program director in Boston, Chicago, Washington, Los Angeles, 3 stations in LA, including KHJ. And he's also been a very successful program consultant over the years. Late nights, we had John Jennings, who we gave the name Bobby Christian. Bobby ended up programming KUPD when I left KUPD later. And he also programmed WXKX in Pittsburgh and 96KX in Denver. All nights we had Steve Casey, who went on to be program director of the legendary WLS in Chicago, and also was one of the people who helped found the programming on MTV, and also went on to be a big consultant. And even the guys that were not program directors went on to be very successful in whatever else they did. Mitch Heller, who was our weekend guy, in my opinion, the best weekend guy in America. He ended up taking my place when I left to go to Dallas doing mornings at KRIZ. And just as he'd done when I left to go to KTSA from KRIZ, and he was just outstanding. He didn't program direct a radio station, but he went on to be very successful. He was still is a very successful real estate developer. He owned IBA, the broadcast school. So I mean, he knew what, where, and why. Dennis King, one of our other midday guys, ended up going on to success as a morning man in Houston for ABC. So I had the easiest job in the world because I could just look back and say, okay, that over there, and the rest was history. I'd like to salute all the guys and gals who came before us at the 1973-74 KRIZ, because it was because of you guys that the legacy for KRIZ was built, that we were able to kind of help continue along. And we should also salute the guys that came after us, because they kept the legacy going for another 4 or 5 years. In fact, KRIZ, I don't know how many of you know this, was the very last Class 4 AM radio station in America that was #1 rated in Arbitron. And that says a whole lot about really all of us in this room. Maybe Alice Cooper said it best, that when you grow up in Phoenix, either you're a KRIZ person or a KRUX person. And it's always better to be a KRIZ person. So Alice is right. KRIZ, thank you for the honor. Onward and upward.